debate. Senator Durst.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just a very short debate. I'm tired of hearing myself, so I can't imagine how others must be feeling. Minute of candor. And Voltaire said that perfect is the enemy of the good. And that's really a phrase that I've been struggling with. It's one of the lessons I learned my freshman year in the House, was not to make a perfect, just because a bill wasn't quite perfect didn't mean it wasn't good enough to pass. And I've struggled with that with this legislation because, you know, ultimately I support a state exchange. I think that's the right approach for our state, and I think that's what would be best. And so I've had these internal debates fighting with myself as to which side of me was going to win. And for some reason, I keep coming down on the, well, this isn't good enough. And I think, well, is this, because do I want it to make it perfect? And I guess what I'm thinking about is not a quest for perfection, but a quest for acceptance. And let me just kind of tell you, just briefly, the areas of this legislation that I think are particularly weak and why they're leading me to the place where I can't support this bill. I appreciate that the other side of the rotunda had some efforts to improve the legislation and add some oversight, and I think those were good things. But one of the things that they refused to address was the issue of consumer protections. And, Mr. President, if I may read, I've got a newspaper article from the Idaho Statesman on the date of March 4th.
Having identified the source, Senator may read.
Thank you, Mr. President. The article states, Bedke R. Oakley said he understands that stretching out the process means another Senate committee hearing and another Senate floor debate after 6 hours talk fest on February 21st. But he said giving opponents a chance to tweak a single bill will make their results less cumbersome and might even pick up votes. He says, quote, any new ideas have to be in good faith, that is to say, no poison pills. Bedke said, quote, I am all about cleaner, streamlined approach. Amendments could include a hat-tipped Oklahoma's lawsuit, which attempts to bring the Affordable Care Act down like a Jenga tower by removing the tax credits and subsidize the support affordable. But Wood, chairman of the House committee, said, quote, hospital amendments to put the rulemaking process under the direct authority of the legislature or limit the monthly fees for customers are unacceptable. That last sentence is the one that's really got me stuck. Because my question is, and I believe the chairman of the Germain Committee on this side of the rotunda, the senator from 32, has done a fantastic job. I think he's really done a fair job of shepherding this bill through. I think he's done a fair job listening to testimony. And I take him at his word when he says he has to honor the process. And I believe that he does honor the process. He's done a good job. The problem is that we have to have mutual concurrence on the other side of the rotunda. And for me, what would make this legislation acceptable is knowing that I can protect consumers from having to be gouged to pay for the operation of this exchange. I read, according to the chairman of the Germain Committee on the other side of the rotunda, that that's not happening. That there will be no amendments, even if we let this bill pass. No trailer bill, no additional legislation next session will ever get through his committee that does that. That is where I draw the line. That is why I cannot support House Bill 248. If I had assurances that that legislation would be given a good faith negotiation and a good faith effort to be passed, I'd be okay with it. I'd say, you know, I'll take my chances. But reading in black and white that any restriction on the consumer fees is not something that can be added, is not acceptable to me, and I'll be voting no.